where today I have a lovely, lovely guest. I've known her for, I don't know, 6, 7 years, something like that. And it's Amanda Wittenborn. And I don't always read people's bios word for word. Sometimes I do, but I thought when I saw Amanda's bio, I thought it just really does speak to who she really is at heart. So I am going to read it word for word. Amanda Wittenborn has been married to her amazing husband, David, for 20 years. Together, they're raising three sons, Zachary, who's 16, Joshua, who's 13, and Benjamin, who's 8. Amanda runs a multi-million-dollar party supply business that she built while her babies were napping. She designs every product her company sells. Her story exemplifies the power of persistence, feeling the fear, but doing it anyway, and being connected to your passion and your purpose. And Amanda, that is who you have been since the day I met you, right? By the way, just FYI, I keep one of Amanda's designs. Listen, I've known Amanda for a while. She does some custom stuff for me once in a while, but I keep this piece here. This is the invitation you designed for my daughter's baby shower. I use this as an example when I'm teaching. I have stories I tell about this, but the biggest story I tell about this is you didn't charge me to create this because you took it and you made money from it.
That's right.
So here's my question. How is it doing?
It does pretty well. I haven't run the numbers on that one, but it does sell. And it has been ever since I did it.
Yes. So let's start like always with your milk crate moment. What was that piece for you?
Well, I have quite a few along the way, but I think we'll go with the most recent one, which is March 2020, and how we were a party supply company only, and everything got shut down and nobody could have a party. And not only could people not have parties anymore, so sales stopped. I mean, immediately overnight, business dropped 95%. But then anybody who had ordered any party supplies in the last month wanted to return them. And so we had thousands of dollars of returns coming as well. And so, I panicked because I was like, well, I knew it wasn't going to be 2 weeks, right? Isn't that what they told us at first? That
2 weeks,
right? 2 weeks. I was like, this is not going to be 2 weeks. And this was the only way that we made money. So 4 years ago, my husband quit his job to work for me, and this was our only income. So if we're not selling products, we're not making money. And so, I basically panicked. And
as a lot of small business owners did, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah, because a lot of people were shut down unless they sold toilet paper. Right. Other than that, you were panicking.
Oh my gosh, your stuff is paper, right?
Right.
I know you mentioned
I guess it could have been used as toilet paper. I didn't think about advertising it as that back then, but that might have been a good way to do it.
Yeah. So you told a little story about the toilet paper and maybe it was just a joke that I remember from the Turnaround Conference, because you were a featured speaker there at the Turnaround Conference this year.
Yes, I was, which was lots of fun. I plan on telling that story too, and you can even share my screen if
I don't think we can screen share.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I would show it. But, for those first couple weeks of the pandemic, I joke that I did what everybody else did, and I laid on the couch watching Tiger King, and just kind of, but I think the entrepreneurial mind is kind of always working. Like I knew I had to find a way to make an income, and what was I going to do, and how could I fix this? And so I kind of just started thinking of ideas like, I can design things. So what kinds of things could I design even in the midst of this kind of chaos that people still need with all this going on? How could I use the talents that I had, which seemed kind of silly at the time because it was not pandemic worthy of a skill, right? I was like, oh, I just design pretty things and nobody needs pretty things right now, right? But I just started thinking, what do people need? And I kind of started designing some different things. So I designed things for small business owners, like stickers to put on the outside of their package, just as an extra thank you. Because, if they were getting business, they were feeling extra grateful, and it was just another way. So I had little inserts that you could put in your package that said thank you or had fun little puns on them. I designed some silly coffee mugs and journals. And one of the first things I designed was a change of plans postcard. So I knew everybody was going to have to cancel their events. Weddings were being canceled, parties, all those things. So I
Right.
made a few different designs of postcards that could be sent out to change your plans. And this is where the toilet paper came in. My favorite one had a little poop emoji and a toilet paper emoji on it. And it said, "This stinks, but we're rolling with it."
Oh,
Just
that is
kind of making light of a really bad situation because nobody wanted to cancel their wedding or anything like that. And I posted it on Facebook and I said, "Hey, if you have something coming up and you need to cancel it, here's some postcards." And I happened to be friends with a lot of teachers, and somebody said, "Oh, could you just make it a blank back so that I could send it to my students?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, I could do that." And then I thought, well, what if I specifically designed postcards for teachers to send their students? And so I started working on that. And I think we were about a month in, and I put those up for sale, and they just were the right product at the right time. And they just started flying off the shelves. And I'm talking like quantities I've never dealt with in my life before. We were selling 300 to 400 packs a day.
oh, wow.
Amazon at the time wasn't allowing you to send in any inventory, so everything was being done out of my house. So our garage became a warehouse, and we had postcards, stacks of mailers, tape, the shrink wrap machine. I mean, everything. We turned our garage into a warehouse, and hundreds of packages were going to the post office every day of these postcards. And that kind of ended up being the idea that stuck, that kind of got us out of the we have nothing to sell.
Well, you know was really interesting to me when I saw you doing that was it was December of 2019, so just a couple months before the shutdown, and you sent me a text one day. Do you remember what it said?
I have a feeling I know what it said.
Yeah. Do you mind if I share that?
Yes, you can, or I can. I can
Yeah.
tell you what I
You
think.
you can you can tell me. You can say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I 2019 was the first time we crossed 1 million in sales.
Yeah, and I honestly, you were the first person it kind of makes me a little emotional because you were the first person that I had worked with that crossed $1 million, and I was so incredibly happy for you in December when that happened. And you were the first person I thought of when the shutdown started, because I know every January you have to start over at 0, right? And you had started off a little hot and then you literally went to 0. And
Yep.
it didn't look like there was going to be a recovery anytime soon. And then I saw you starting to create, like, I should have known, right? Who was I dealing with? I should have known that you would come up with something to make good on what it is that you do best. So,
And I think, I've heard other people say that too, where, "Oh, of course you did." But being the one to do that, I
mhm,
didn't feel like that
I
in the
know.
moment. I was terrified.
Right.
I didn't know that I was gonna have an idea that stuck. I didn't know that I was gonna come up with something that people were gonna buy. I had no idea. I was just trying to figure out a way to make sure we could pay our bills because that was our only income. And that was, and that time, it's not like my husband could have just went and got a job either because
Right.
everything else was shut down, So I think it's easy when other people are like, "Oh yeah, of course you did. I knew you'd come up with a great idea because you're amazing like that." But like I did not know that at the time,
Yeah.
and even looking back, I'm still amazed by it all. I don't go, "Oh, of course I figured it out." I feel like I did what I had to do to make sure I could feed my family and pay my mortgage.
Mhm.
I'm incredibly grateful that I was creative enough to come up with that idea because very quickly I came up with a goal in those postcards, and I wanted to get 1 million postcards to kids across the United States during the pandemic because I knew firsthand how the kids were feeling because
Yeah.
I had 3 of them at home. And I have tons of teacher friends, and I knew that they were missing their students. And, it was just a mess. And these little bright lights of mail coming into mailboxes, I had teachers messaging me every other day, emailing me, showing me pictures of all their students holding up their different postcard on their Zoom class and how much it meant to all those kids. And so I was like, well, what if we could get 1 million postcards out? It took about 10 months, but we did do it. And then I stopped counting because I had met my goal. But
Well,
the
because you had to
postcards,
work.
yeah, I was working. But the postcards for teachers to give their students, I ended up filling out the entire line. So there is for every holiday, school occasion, anything you can think of now, there's a postcard that a teacher can give to a student for that, whether they mail it to it or just hand it out in their classroom. And it's become a staple of our product line.
So let's go back because let's move back a few years prior to 2019, right?
Okay.
When I first met you. And you had come to a workshop that I was holding somewhere, right? And I asked a question of the group, and you stood up, and I'm going to let you say what that was if it's okay. And then you started crying, and then we all joined in with you.
There was a lot of crying at that workshop.
There was a lot of crying, right?
Yes.
But when you said that, I don't listen. People say it's like, oh, great, she had $1 million business, right? They don't know where you were just 3 years before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? This is a great inspirational story in my perspective.
Yes, for sure. When I came to your workshop, I was at the lowest of the low. About a year prior to that, I had been selling on Etsy and I was doing really well. And Etsy shut my store down and I just was not making any money. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get any business. And we were just plain old broke. When my son was born, we couldn't make ends meet, and Dave would park the car that was furthest behind in car payments at the front of the driveway so that it couldn't get towed overnight. And then he'd park it in a different parking lot at work so that nobody could find it during the day. And then once that car got the payment, then he'd switch the cars, And so at that workshop, I think you asked, what you would do if you made an extra $100 a month or something like that. And I said that I would just buy my husband shoes that didn't have holes in them because his shoes were so old and so worn out that the soles had holes. And anytime it rained, he had wet socks all day. I mean, it seems like such a simple thing, but we couldn't afford that. Couldn't afford shoes for him.
Right. And honestly, if there was one person in that room, right? And here's the thing, and you literally could not afford shoes for your husband that didn't have holes in them. And yet you invested in yourself and said, I'm going to work with you. And I'm not saying this about people should work with me, but work with me. But I'm saying it because you literally were that broke and you invested not in me, but in you.
Right. And that's really what it came down to was I knew that I had something that had potential and I just wasn't figuring it out on my own. And so I knew I needed help. And so it was who was the best one to help me. I knew I needed help. I was willing. I knew I'd do the work. And so, yeah, I remember putting you through the ringer because I was like, but are you really going to help me? Because I couldn't afford to hire you and have it not work.
Right. Right.
But when it comes down to it, I was willing to put in the work and I was willing to do whatever it took to make it work. And that's why it worked.
Exactly. Right. Everything I suggested, everything. And listen, at that point, because you're a beautiful graphic designer, right? Number one is it's like, how do we get your prices up and how do we start you making money? But that was great for a little bit to get you some money in the door. But then you really had a passion for parties. You are the party girl.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes. And so, yeah, I did whatever it took just to kind of get things going. But yeah, I did graphic design service where I would do some logos. I designed a couple of your book covers I was actually just looking at some stuff, your dad's poetry book. I don't know if you remember that. I did the
Yeah.
cover for that one. And I did a whole bunch of different random things, but really my passion does lie in designing party supplies, especially little kids' birthday parties. That's my favorite. And that's the bulk of our products because I just have the most fun with that, the colors and the characters and, the wild imagination of kids. I live in that. So we have baby shower too, obviously. I don't have a lot of older party stuff. So people ask for bachelorette parties or things like that. I'll make them, but I don't have them because I
Well,
just love birthday parties so much.
well, and you're all about the kids, right? I mean, that's where it started out for you. But I remember when my daughter got married, and I'm like, and she came home and she was so excited. She had gone to the dollar store and she's like, "Mom, I found my wedding invitations." I'm like, "Great, where at?" And she's like, "The dollar store. They are 10 for $1." And I'm like, "Jacqueline, we are not buying dollar store. You're my only daughter. We didn't skimp on the wedding dress. We are not spending $1 on invitations," right? She could have literally mailed her invitations out for $10, and that's including postage. But I
Yep.
love to do that.
Yep.
But I said we're gonna use Amanda, and because she does beautiful work, and she was so happy, and they
Yeah.
were so beautiful, right?
Yes. Well,
So
yeah.
there's only
Weddings
one.
are not my forte. I will only do them for people that I know.
Oh, yay, yay! Not
So
always.
anybody watching this, don't be coming to me for your custom wedding invite. That's not my thing. But if you're
But
related to me or I know you or your mom, yes.
I'm not trying to sell you. I'm not trying to sell wedding invitations. I just love though that honestly, I'm so always so grateful when you will do the work for me because I know that that's not what you want to do. You want to really design the party invitations that you buy, but they're so much nicer than what you get at Walgreens or even Staples or right something like that. These
Yeah.
are 5x7. Do I need to show this again for our
Yeah, you
viewers? These are 5x7, right? They're beautiful designs. I and you fill in all this information because I know you. I got it all filled in for me, so I didn't have to write that in. But I loved these so much. I literally keep this because I talk about you all the time. And on the
that's so
map
cute.
back there, right? What do we have? Oh, it's probably backwards. Amanda
That's okay.
Creations.
Yeah, that's right.
AmandaCreation.com. So when you're on Amazon, make sure you're looking for Amanda Creation.
Yeah, actually don't go on Amazon. That would be
Oh,
my request is to just
oh,
go to
where
my
would you like them to go? Let's
just my
talk about that.
website.
Is
Yeah.
that the one that you just gave me?
Yeah, amandacreation.com is my website.
Well,
Everything that we have to sell is on there. Um, and prices are a little bit better than on Amazon.
Amanda Creation. I'm gonna type it in .com. I'm gonna just add it to here, and then I'm going to show it. Oops, show it. There we go. Is that
Oh,
correct?
that's so fancy.
I know,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
so we
I
have
didn't know.
everything there. We offer, free shipping over 50. You get a coupon for your first order. Things I can do on that website that I can't do on Amazon. Um, and Amazon takes about a third of whatever price that you see, plus a little bit more. So if you shop on my website, I get to keep a little bit more of it, and I tend to, take a little bit better care of you because I know you, because you're my customer then.
Can you do personalization on your website?
Usually that's just an email asking.
Yeah.
But yes, personalization is always an option on any invite that we offer. It costs just a little bit more, but totally doable. Same with all the stickers. Some stickers are up there and you can personalize them. But if there's a design that you want that doesn't have a personalized option, I'll always add it. It's just, we literally have 6,000 products. So to have a listing for non-personalized and personalized of everything just gets a little crazy, but I'll absolutely do it.
So, you guys, take that in for a moment. She has created over 6,000 products. You were in 2 years ago, I think it was, you were in a contest.
Yes.
Right?
That was also 2019.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So then it's 3 years ago. But
Yeah.
man, how time flies during a pandemic, right?
I know, right? I was like, oh, it's been 3 years of chaos.
Yeah.
Yes. We're
Yeah.
still okay.
So let's talk about that product that you created for the contest.
Yeah, so something that I had been working on. So this contest came about at the end of 2018, and at that time I had been trying to create a party in a box, which includes all the things that you need to throw a coordinated Pinterest-worthy party all in one box. You don't have to run around to a bunch of different stores. You get everything in the box. But I was really struggling to make it happen. I couldn't find manufacturers for some of the pieces. I couldn't figure out how to do it cost effective. And I had just kind of hit a wall. But I had been working on it for a couple years.
Mhm.
And I was in a book club with you, and this is kind of my favorite part of the story, which is why I won't leave it out. But we talked about how the universe doesn't give you a dream without also giving you a way to make that dream a reality. And sometimes all you have to do is ask. And so I asked the universe on a Monday. I was like, "Hey, can you please help me with this? Because I'm at a roadblock and I can't get past it, and I don't know what to do." And then Tuesday, I did the same thing. I was like, "You know what, universe, you've given me this dream, and I really want to make it happen, but I'm not doing it on my own. It's just not working." And Wednesday, I wake up to an email in my inbox: "Enter to win $50,000 for your business." And I was like, "Nope, not doing that. Nope." It was like, make a video to enter. You're going to have to be live in front of 5 judges to pitch your idea and then ultimately talk on a stage. I was like, "No, I'm not interested." And
Universe, I
then
have another idea.
and then the universe is like, "Well, you did ask me, didn't you?" And I was like, oh, like I could think of nothing more uncomfortable. Like, no, I don't want to get on video. I definitely don't want to be pitching an idea for judgment, right? Having 5 judges staring at me and judging everything that I say. No, not interested. And then live in front of an audience of like 100 plus people. No, not interested. And the ultimately the universe was like, "Well, you asked." And I was like, "Oh, damn it, I have to do it. I have to.
Mhm.
I owed it to myself to try." I after I asked, like, how do it's not going to come the way you want it to. It's not going to just be in this little present wrapped with a bow, easy open, right? It's going to be shrink wrapped 10 different ways with, industrial strength plastic wrap that a knife can't even cut, just to see, do you really want this? Are
Mhm.
you really sure about that? And so I went through the whole ringer of that whole process. I entered the contest. I got accepted. It was 3 rounds. I ended up making it to the final round. I ended up having to pitch in front of the live audience, and I ended up coming in second, which
And
was amazing because ultimately, as I was sitting there getting ready to go pitch in front of the live audience, I was sitting at the table with a complete party in a box in my hands. And so I just started sobbing because I realized it really wasn't about the money. I didn't need the money to make it happen. And I had it and I had done it. So the contest created the momentum to make that product happen. And it didn't really matter if I had the money or not. It would have been nice, but not needed. And that was the big lesson for me, was that, you know, was capable of making it happen. And then that was the first year that we crossed 1 million. We did launch those and they did sell. And we were getting ready to kind of go bigger with it. And then 2020 happened. And so we're back on the saddle with that. And we are ready to launch new test ones, more updated party themes, because the ones that I was working on in 2018 are now kind of dated. Things move fast in the party world. So we have new um, updated themes that we're going to test out and try, and possibly start manufacturing our own paper plates, cups, and napkins. But we have to see how things go first.
wow. I just I as you were telling the story, I was literally, it's like you ask for something and sometimes it takes a while, right? For you, it never has. Since I have known you, it has never taken. And it just occurred to me as you were telling the story, as I'm sitting here on the other end and watching what's going on with you, right? And following you on Facebook and all over the place, it just occurred to me that that was a year, 1 year from the time you wanted it until it not only manifested itself, but you had gone through all of the steps to figure it all out and created the product. I didn't realize it was just 1 year. I mean,
It was
crazy.
probably October to May. So it was
Okay,
only
so
about, yeah,
what is that,
only
7
about
months?
6 months, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it was kind of one of those things. Not everything was perfectly figured out for it, but it was done. I
yeah,
had gotten to a point where I was like, okay, and we can refine. And we've gotten so much better on some of the pieces that was in that box in 2019 already, and so some of the things are just, we have 6 different coordinating pieces that we offer now for a lot of our different themes. And back then I really only had 3, 2,
yeah.
an invite and a sticker, or an invite and a thank you card. And so we've added different products to the line now. We have machines, so we do some of the printing ourselves in our office, which is really exciting because we have this really cool cutting machine that it's a cutter, slitter, creaser. So it can cut, it can put slits in paper, and it can crease. So we do greeting cards now that are creased.
Oh,
I
nice.
launched bag toppers this year, which have just gone way crazier than I thought they were going to go. People love the bag toppers. And now I'm about to design something to use that slitting feature, because I know the machine can do it, I'm like, let's make something that has a slit.
Do you have any, and I don't know the answer to this, do you have any product in retail?
No, no.
Okay. Is that a plan or something that you're headed toward or not really?
I
Like,
thought
I'm
about it
thinking
for a
like
little
products in
bit.
something like Party City or something like that.
Yeah, I thought about it for a little bit. I pursued it with a coach that I was working with 2 years ago for a little bit, where we were kind of spending a lot of our time pursuing that, like Paper Source,
Mhm.
Walmart, Target kind of thing. And as time has gone on, my desire for that has gone down. Just learning a little bit more of the ins and outs of dealing with big retail shops. Um, I'm in like a stress management time period for my life and
Mhm.
business. And I think the stress of that and the cash flow issues that would come along with it are just not now. I won't say never, but
Mhm.
right now it's just not on my radar.
Awesome. Well, I see that in high-end places, not Walmart and Target. I don't see it there. I see it in really high-end party shops. So,
Yeah.
should there ever
Maybe
should
those
those
independent
ever come back.
retailers. Yeah, maybe independent retailers, that would be really fun. I also have a desire to have our own little pop-up shop in the front of our office. We have a really nice entryway that's about 15 by 15. It'd be really fun to just have that be like a little shop. People could come in and look at some of the products and things like that. But again, I know what is involved with that and the time commitment, and it's just not right now. Not
Right.
never, but just not right now, because the past 3 years have been very stressful, and we've had a new issue to deal with every year that I've never had to deal with before. And entrepreneurship is all about problem solving and overcoming hurdles. And there's just been a lot the past 3 years. I mean, I'm sure most business owners can agree with that. That none of these years have felt normal, and it hasn't been smooth going. Like looking back, like 2019, like if I could go back to that, it was just so easy. Like everything
Yeah.
was so smooth, like we had problems, but they were small, and
Right.
they were easier to figure out. These bigger problems like paper shortages and envelope shortages and inventory problems, they take a lot more mental energy, and they cause more trouble in the business too. And, when things are troublesome or shaky, it just kind of throws everything off, especially when it's the only way that you're making money.
Mhm.
So I'm just in, like I said, stress management zone, just want to cruise a little bit. That's not to say I'm not working on projects. I am. I worked with somebody for about 7 months developing a TED Talk, which is what I got to practice at your turnaround conference. So I would like to continue to practice that and hopefully get on a TEDx stage and do that. Um,
Awesome.
so I'm working on things, but not pushing the business too much to grow. It can just chill for a little bit. For a
Good.
little.
Well, I have so enjoyed our time. Normally, this is a 15-minute podcast, 15, 20 minutes tops. And we've gone just about 30 minutes right now. But, I just adore you. And I could spend hours talking to you. But that's probably not for everybody to hear. So, Amanda, thank you for being here.
Yes. Thank you
This,
for having
I
me.
hope people heard the inspirational story there for what it was, because it's not that you are so special, it's that you are so persistent and you go for what you want and you don't let anything stop you, right? And when you have that kind of focus and that kind of drive and that kind of um, um, goal in mind, nothing's impossible. And I wish you another 5 to 10 mil every year going forward.
No, you know what takes a manage of 5 to 10 million? Not for me right now.
All right. Have a
Unless
lovely
you
day.
could become the CEO, you could manage it.
Well, there you go. I'm getting a promotion. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You're welcome. Bye.